blueprint, right, to promote your services or your product and stop the guessing, right? And what it does is it outlines specific actions that you will take to attract your customers, right? So again, not everything in your marketing plan is going to be successful, but the whole idea of having a plan is just like, it's just like fitness or working out, right, y'all? Like if you have a meal plan for what you're going to eat, if you have a workout plan for exactly what you are going to do when you go in the gym, you are probably going to be in better shape than if you don't have a plan. If you just like, I'm going to the gym today, I'm going to walk in there and figure it out. Like maybe, maybe some people could do that. But if you have a plan, I'm going to do 5 of these, I'm going to do 20 of these, then I'm going to do this. And then when I get home, I'm going to eat this. That's going to make you way more successful in your goal. And that's the same thing with marketing. So to have a plan and a blueprint allows you, right, to have something to follow. Secondly, strategy, right? So like a strategic approach is going to make sure everybody's business is different. Some people want to book consultations. Some people have a lawyer, a law firm. Some people may have a hair salon. Some people may sell clothes. Depending on what your goal is, having a marketing plan allows you to align your business objective, which is obviously sales and growing your business and revenue, but that's different for different businesses. So your marketing plan allows you to address your specific challenges. So I'll stick with the analogy of fitness. Some people are trying to lose weight. Some people are trying to gain muscle. Some people just want to be healthy and be able to breathe and walk up the stairs. It all depends on what your goal is, right? But having a strategy, and that's the way that you actually reach your particular goal. And having a marketing plan allows you to have a way to reach your specific goal rather than just doing things that are good for marketing and not really being as efficient with your time as possible. Lastly, right, like the benefits of a marketing plan, right? So when you do have a plan in place, what it allows you to do is anticipate and adapt to trends and challenges, right? So knowing what you are going to do to reach your specific goal, it puts you in place to execute that plan better. It puts you in place to make changes and make tweaks and make optimizations to your plan, right? And then also to look at different trends, whether it's Black Friday or back to school or all of these different what we call beats or moments, right? It allows you to look at those and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do during that time, because as we'll get into later, time is a big factor in your marketing plan. So being able to look 6 months out, 5 months out and say, okay, this is what we're going to do for this particular time, it makes it way more effective. And then what happens is, what you'll find is you're able, because a lot of y'all are small businesses and every single dollar that you spend matters, right? So with a solid plan, you're able to take your dollars and spend them more wisely. When you take the guesswork out of it, the effectiveness of the money that you are going to spend on marketing is better, because now, okay, boom, I have a plan, right? I'm going to stick with the fitness analogy for this whole slide. If I know, all right, in whatever my fitness goal is, in 30 days, I want to lose 10 pounds, right? And I know what I'm doing in the gym. I'm doing cardio, I'm running, I'm doing the things that they say I'm supposed to do to lose weight. But when I walk in the grocery store and I'm figuring out what to eat and what to buy to take home, I now know, hey, this is my goal. My goal is to lose that 10 pounds. So my action, when I'm buying in the store, it ain't always, we know, but it should be reflective of my goal, right? So it's like, all right, I got to chill on the donuts or the bread, and maybe I got to do more lean meats and vegetables, because why? I know that I have a goal in mind, right? I know that I have a very specific goal that's in my plan, and all my actions, the money I'm spending, the marketing that I'm doing, the people I'm hiring, whatever it is going to be reflective of my plan and my goal, right? And so when you have that, it's just a way tighter operation, and it's a way better situation for you, the business owner, to be able to, choose the right activities and spend the money that you are going to spend efficiently and effectively. So again, in summary, a marketing plan is just a strategic blueprint for you, right, to reach your goals. How do you reach your goals? By having a strategic approach. But again, you have to have the plan first, right, to know, okay, what is my goal? What are my resources? How am I actually going to go about this strategically? but the first step is always the goal, right? And then what are the benefits? Again, you can anticipate, you can adapt, you can make changes, right? But then you can also make the correct decisions, because everybody's going to make mistakes. To this day, I still make mistakes for my own brands and for other people's brands. That's a part of marketing. But you can limit the mistakes, you can limit the lessons that you need to learn by having a plan in place, sticking to that plan, and making sure that every action that you make as far as marketing, or every action that you take, is a function of that plan. So these are just the basics about what a marketing plan is and why you should have one. Now, let's talk about the 5 Ps. So these are the 5 Ps of marketing. This is basically like the root of what's going to be in your marketing plan itself, right? So when you look at your business and how you define your business, and this is all going to go into your marketing plan, these are like the main things that you should think about when you're thinking about marketing, right? So the first is product, right? What is your product or service, right? So what is it that you actually offer? What is it that separates you in the market? And what is it that makes your product or service different? It doesn't have to be always unique. There's probably plenty of people who have a salon or a restaurant or a food truck, but what is it specifically about your food truck or your salon that is different, right? So you want to be able to know what the features of the product are and what the benefits of the product are. So if it's a food truck, for example, I might have, hey, I do a friend of mine, he does oxtail cheesesteaks, right? And not too many people do an oxtail cheesesteak. So off the bat, he's immediately separated himself from the other food trucks because he has a unique type of cuisine that he's serving. Now, you don't always have to have a specific unique product or service, but what you do have to have is a way that you provide that product or service that makes you different, special, or better than the competition, right? So again, if your product or service itself is not unique, then what is it about you or the way that you deliver that product or that service, right? TD Jakes is a pastor. There's millions of pastors. What is it about him that makes millions of people want to watch him every Sunday, right? Is it his delivery? Is it his story? Is it the way that he connects with people? There's something different about him that makes him more successful. And for you as a business owner, the first thing you want to do is figure out what that is for you. We call it a unique value proposition, right? What is it that's special about you? And you have to really think about that, because that's going to be your lifeblood as a company anyway. Because once you do find out how to get customers, you are going to have to figure out the hard part, which is how to keep customers. And the number one way you do that, we'll talk about it later, is having a quality product or service. That's going to do all of the marketing for you. The second thing is price, right? So, you really have to think strategically about your price, and you have to think about where you are in the market for whatever it is that you offer, whether that's a product or a service. Now, if I'm a lawyer, there's a lot of lawyers, right? I'm gonna pay a lot more, rest his soul, for Johnny Cochran than I would for like somebody who's a public defender. Why? Well, his accomplishments, what he's been able to achieve, and he commands that price. So you have to think about where you are in the landscape, what your production costs are. If you're selling clothes, are they higher end clothing items? I made this analogy the other day, like all these high-end clothing brands, yes, they use more quality material, but nowhere near the markup that they sell it for, right? Like you can go to Italy and get the same things that they use to make Dior or Balenciaga or Gucci. The material is good, don't get me wrong, but the reason they're able to charge the price they can charge is because of the way that the consumer thinks about their brand, right? And what that means. So they're just, all you're paying for is a brand, and literally you are paying for the name to be able to say that you can afford this particular item. And when you have that situation set up, there is no cap on how much you're able to charge, because now it's a mental game. How bad do you want to have something that somebody else doesn't have, right? And that's why people could sell, there's a whole book about this called The $100 Cheesesteak, where a guy was selling cheesesteaks for $100 just because. I mean, was the meat good? Sure. But like, is it that good? I don't know. But somebody thought that it was. And if the consumer determines the value is that, then you can get away with that. But if not, then you have to think about maybe lowering your price or adjusting your price, right? But you have to think strategically with your price, because depending on what you offer, your price could be an advantage or it could be a disadvantage, right? I'm sure plenty of us in this Zoom right now have walked away from a vendor. Like I'll get a perfect example in my real life. I had a boxing trainer who's a friend of mine, and we did one-on-ones, and it was really good. But I got to the point where had somebody else who was just as good as him, and they did it for half the price. So he lost me as a client, right? So you really have to think about where you sit in the market, and is your price going to be something that is an advantage? Or are you going to say, hey, look, I'm actually going to get customers because my price is so low? You got to be careful with that, because you don't want to, cheapen yourself or take yourself out of business or out of the market. So it's a delicate balance. But when you're thinking about price, especially in regards to your marketing plan, when you know your price point and you have an accurate price point to what you offer, now you know who your consumer is. Now you know how to talk to them, right? So if I am Balenciaga or Dior, I know I'm not going after people that are really worried about price, right? I'm going after the person who wants the value or the perceived value of the product, and they're not thinking about how expensive it is because maybe they just have that much money, right? So I say that to say that when you know your price and you're confident about your price, now you can know how to talk to your consumer. And now you know who your target market is based on who can afford your price, or if you have a lower price, knowing how to market around that. Hey, we have the best price in town, right? Like that's also another strategy. So a lot there to think about with price, but just make sure that you are strategic when you think about it, especially because it's going to have a big role in your marketing plan. Place, that's really just how and where your customer purchases your product. So for a lot of y'all that are online, that's going to be a Shopify store. I hope it is a Shopify store. Some of y'all have Wix and Squarespace, but some of you also have, brick and mortar hard locations. Whatever it is, place plays a role in you guys being able to come up with the marketing plan, because it's going to allow you to figure out like your distribution channels and your promotion strategies, which we're going to get into promotion next, right? So if I have a restaurant, for example, it might make sense for me to put somebody on the corner with a sign, right? If I have a clothing line that we sell clothes online, maybe not, right? So you have to think about how you actually how and where you conduct business, because that's going to have a major part in your marketing plan and what you're thinking about doing in terms of marketing your brand, right? Next is promotion, right? And this is really just all the ways that you actually go about reaching your customer, right? So what am I going to do? Am I going to run Facebook ads? Am I going to do partnerships? Am I going to, put somebody on the side of the street? Am I going to get a billboard? The actual channels that you're using to promote your business, that's the fourth P, which is promotion. And then the last one is people, which I think is the most important, right? So that is all of the people that are within your company that deliver the service, but also the people that you are serving, meaning the consumer. Who is my target market? And we'll talk about that in the third workshop. But these are the 5 Ps of marketing, and these are extremely important to remember when you are actually going about creating your marketing plan. Now, let's talk about actually creating it. So how do I go about doing it? The first thing is you want to be rooted in data and analytics. And I know, especially in our community, people get scared when they start hearing about analytics and data because it's numbers. Like for me, I remember when they started algebra in high school, and the first time they put a letter next to a number, I was tripping. I was like, nah, like it just was, my mind was like, wait, what? I don't, And I think a lot of business owners are like that when it comes to analytics and numbers. And so you can't run away from that. You have to make sure that your plan is rooted in research, right? Even if it's not the most detailed research, but like the stuff we just talked about, knowing who I serve as a business, knowing who my target market is, knowing what my value proposition to that person is. The way we like to put it is, you want to solve a specific problem for a specific person, right? And that's the way you're going to be able to grow your business. So by research, it doesn't always mean spending hours and hours. It's also research about your own business, your own brand, and the role that you play within the environment of your customer, right? You know, they say McDonald's doesn't sell burgers. McDonald's sells convenience and happiness, right? So that's really what they're giving you. What are you giving these people? What is different about you, and how do you go about doing that? That's part of research. The other part is thinking about your customer, your audience, their buying behaviors, and how they respond to different marketing tactics. Once you know all of this stuff and you've done research about your own company and then the environment that you're operating in, now you can start to actually craft your plan, right? The second thing you want to think about is resource allocation. That's just a fancy word for where you're spending your money, right? So you want to make sure that you have a balanced budget, but you want to have it connected to, again, the goals and the outcomes, which I'll talk about on the next slide. But you don't want to, I know me as a business owner, like every dollar I'm spending, I need to make sure that I know how that's coming back to the business, right? And in my marketing plans, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about the risks associated with each cost, each expense, and each activity that I'm doing for my marketing, right? Because every dollar matters to y'all, and it matters to me. And so that leads into my third point, which is risk assessment. When you have a plan, it's going to allow you to do more testing and less guessing and ensure that your dollars are, again, spent wisely. So now I can limit how much I'm risking. It's always a risk. To be in business is a risk in itself, as many of y'all know. But to assess the risk correctly, right, is the third major part of developing your plan. So what needs to be in my marketing? The three biggest things that you need to have in your marketing plan. Number one is a budget, right? How much are you willing to spend all in all on the marketing over a given amount of time? That, you know, again, everybody's at a different place in their business. People have different budgets, different resources. Some people have investors, some don't. But at the end of the day, how much money are you going to allocate or put to the side for your marketing? Once you know that, now that's why we always say, answer that question first. What is your budget? If it's $10, if it's $500, if it's $50,000, once you know that, you're able to build the rest of the plan, because you don't want to build a bunch of stuff in your plan that you can't afford to do or that you just don't have the finances to do, right? Like, that's a waste of time. So once you know what your budget is, the next thing you can do is define your goals, right? So your marketing plan is a physical document. I mean, when I say physical, it doesn't have to be like paper, but it should be like a Word document, a PDF, or a Google Doc or something like that, a written document, right? Once you know your budget, you have to define your goals. Okay, my goal is to increase my Instagram following to 10,000 people. My goal is to increase my monthly sales by 10%. My goal is to increase my profit margin. Whatever it is, you have to list the goals. So, because if you don't have goals, you don't have a way to evaluate if the plan is successful or not. Your goal could just simply be, I want to define what my best marketing tactics are, right? It doesn't always have to be super specific. Now, for me, I always recommend, when I set goals, I recommend having a number associated with the goal, because if it doesn't, then it's too undefined. Like for example, what sounds stronger? I want to lose weight, or I want to lose 20 pounds by September 1st. The second one sounds like somebody who's a little more serious about the goal, right? And it allows me to know specifically what the finish line is. So you want to get specific. I always recommend having numbers associated with any goal that you set, because it allows you not to have that gray area where we can wiggle out of the accountability to ourselves and say, oh, well, I did say I just want to lose weight and I lost 2 pounds and I'm happy with that. Now, nothing wrong with being happy with that, but was that really the goal for you? Is that what you wanted to reach, or were you scared to identify the actual goal, right? So again, the second piece, bigger piece that you want to have in your marketing plan is a goal or a set of goals to say, all right, the purpose of this plan is for me to reach these specific objectives. And then lastly is timing. So again, going back to the weight loss goal, if I just say 20 pounds, it's not the same as if I say 20 pounds by September 1st. Put a date on it, right? Because when you put a date on it, you allow yourself to say, okay, this is this. Now I have a picture of exactly where I'm trying to go and when I'm trying to get there by. right? So it's just like GPS, ETA, 28 minutes, 36 minutes. I don't just have a destination. I have a timeline for when I'm supposed to get to my destination, right? And if you have these three things, it's going to put you in position to have a tighter plan. And again, the whole purpose of a plan is to be able to evaluate, what your execution of that plan did, to say, all right, well, I got to my goal. I didn't reach my goal, but I learned this, I learned this, I learned this. But in the document that you're going to actually create, your actual marketing plan, there's going to be a lot more in there, but also these are the three main pillars of information. Now, there are sub bullets to this, right? Like if you have a budget, okay, the budget allocation itself, I'm going to spend 10,000 over here on Facebook ads. I'm going to spend 5,000 on my TikTok. I'm going to spend 1,000 on Google SEO. Like, it's not just budget by itself. These are like pillars and areas that have specifics under them, right? So goals, for example, you'll have goals, but then you'll have goals underneath those goals that are like more specific to different areas. And then timing, your overall plan should be at least 3 months. We recommend 6 months. But then you might have monthly benchmarks within that 6 months. So, all right, by month 1, I want to do this. By month 2, I want to do this. By month 3, right? So it's not just as general as what's listed right here, but these are the areas that you'll be able to include in your plan. Just some other best practices, because again, my goal for y'all is to walk away from these workshops, with some knowledge. Knowledge is cool, but I want y'all to be able to actually do this stuff. The biggest change, and I want y'all to hear me. If you ain't been listening, if you're just tuning in kind of passively, listen to this part if you don't listen to anything else. The biggest change over the last couple of years for entrepreneurs, right? And I know because I was the person who got paid to do all of this stuff when it comes to marketing, to come up with a marketing plan, to come up with a strategy, to write the ads. The biggest change is that you now, because of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, you now have the ability to get so much more done as far as marketing and as far as running your business in general, right? Because now the stuff that I used to get paid to do when I was an intern, you could just use ChatGPT. Your best friend in your business is going to be ChatGPT. Some of y'all might already know this, some of you might not. But in terms of creating not just your marketing plan, but your entire business, right? Like the first step you should do or take is to open up ChatGPT and use it to help you produce a plan, right? I can share some prompts with you all later, but at the end of the day, you want to crack open ChatGPT and you want to tell it all about your business. So you'll start with a prompt. You'll say, hello, here's my business. Here's my unique value proposition. I am a salon located in South Central Los Angeles. My target customer is XYZ. My monthly revenue is XYZ. I would like you, ChatGPT, to help me produce a marketing plan, right? And the first thing you're going to do is you are going to ask ChatGPT what information you should give it. If you don't know, ask the tool. Say, hey, what information do I need to give you to produce a marketing plan for me? Then it'll tell you. Then you'll give it the information. Then you'll tell it to produce a 6-month marketing plan. But here's the key with ChatGPT. The more detailed you are, the more information you give ChatGPT, the better it's going to produce results for you or your business, right? So if you just say, hey, I got an air freshener brand, it's called Ride Fresh. Can you make me a marketing plan? It'll still do it. It'll still do it. And it'll do probably a damn good job. But if I give it a paragraph or two with specifics, here's what's different about my brand. We do monthly subscriptions. Our product is available in Target or AutoZone. We offer 16 different scents. Our target customer is XYZ. But now I'm giving it more information, right? So do the work on the front end. But this is going to save you, literally, this could probably save you 10 to 15 hours of your time, and it'll give you a marketing plan. Now, you're going to have to do some fine tuning, right? Give it some feedback. But at the end of the day, y'all, please, 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 if you didn't hear anything else, use AI, specifically ChatGPT, to be your business partner, right? This is like when it comes to execution and actually doing this and building a plan. do it through ChatGPT. Don't sit up there and waste a bunch of time typing all day and writing. And some of y'all are probably amazing writers and great thinkers, but at the end of the day, you want to be efficient with your time. And we are in right now a revolution in terms of technology and the ability to do these things. This is spoken from the person who has been paid to do this for 20 years. Those jobs are going away because ChatGPT is a very powerful tool. So again, if you didn't hear anything else, please hear me on that. Like when you want to create your plan, use ChatGPT, give it the prompt, be as detailed about your business as possible. Ask it if it needs more information. If it does, give it that information and then give it feedback as it gives you different variations of your business plan. But it'll spit the whole thing out and you will save 15 hours of your time, right? By allowing this tool to do what it does best and produce whatever you tell it to, right? So I know I spent quite a bit of time on that, but I really want y'all to know because again, I'm focused on like you actually doing this. Like, yeah, walking away with the knowledge is great, but I want y'all to, when you get off this workshop, I want you to be able to do this. And this is the first action step. Now, again, secondly, you're going to want to make changes. So evaluate and optimize. When you get in the execution of your plan, let's say it starts September 1st. It's not like set it and forget it. It's not like one of those things where it's like, all right, I got a plan. Like I'm going back to the fitness analogy again, because I feel like it makes the most sense. But if you say, okay, I've been trying to lose the weight, but I'm sticking to my diet plan, but it's not resulting in what I wanted to result in. I don't just keep doing the same thing because that's my plan. Like if it's not hitting right, if it's not giving me the results I need, then I need to evaluate on that and I need to make changes in real time. Hey, maybe the broccoli ain't working. Let me try some asparagus. Or, hey, I need to add a couple miles to my cardio routine or something. I need to change something about the plan if I'm executing the plan and it's not giving me the results. So remember, it's not like you create a plan. Yes, you're going to stick with it, as I'm going to mention in this next point, but you are the business owner, right? So like you get to make changes to it. Don't quit or stop doing things immediately if they don't work immediately, but it should be dynamic, right? Like it should be something that you are working on and tweaking constantly as you are executing the plans. But again, the last thing is stick with it. Not everything in any plan is going to work perfectly as you thought it would. Some things will work better than you thought they would. Some things aren't going to work at all, and you're going to be worse than you thought they would. But at the end of the day, stick with the execution of the plan. Even if some of the things that don't work occur, right? Like some of that stuff is going to happen. But the good thing is those are learnings as well for your business. Those give you the ability as a business owner to say, well, right now isn't the right time to run Facebook ads, or we don't really have a budget to work with influencers, or whatever it is, you're able to find learnings. So even if you stick with, the execution of the plan, yes, you're going to make changes and you're going to optimize, but stick with the plan originally, right? Until you know that you have to make some changes, right? But also, you're going to be learning the whole time. So don't give up. Like, don't get 3 months in and say, oh, the plan's not working, I'm going to do away with the whole thing. Making changes is not the same as giving up, right? So again, you're going to want to stick with this for the full timeline. We recommend a 6-month plan at least. Sometimes a 3-month plan can work, but we recommend 6. But the bottom line there is to make sure you stick with it, y'all. I've seen time and time again, students in our VSEDC classes and in our long tail launchpad course, which is run by myself. We see the people that get the most results are the people that are action oriented, for one, and the people that stick with exactly the plans that we outline for them. As soon as people start deviating and saying, well, I was going to do it that way, but I changed it. Okay. Before you even went with the plan. So it's like, make sure that you stick with the plan as is from the beginning. And if you need to make changes, if you need to evaluate, if you need to switch some things up, that's okay. But when you walk away or you completely remake the plan, now you're right back to square one that we talked about in the beginning, which was what? Guessing. You don't want to guess, right? You want to be in a position where you're informed and you are making strategic decisions, which means I'm making decisions based on the things that I've learned and what I know, not what I think is going to work, right? So that's just a major thing for the third point. Now, I like to end every one of these sessions in terms of the workshops with one action item, right? And so y'all's action item, and this isn't the VSEDC course. This isn't a cohort where we meet every week. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to hold y'all accountable to this. But you as the business owner should hold yourself accountable. And it's something that you should do, I think, right? So your homework, if you will, is just to use ChatGPT and create a marketing plan within the next 7 days, right? I laid out the whole blueprint for how to do it. Back in the day, when I made my first marketing plan for my first business, it took me 2.5 weeks. And sitting down on a computer and typing all day, all night, thinking about what I'm going to do. ChatGPT will even give you ideas. If you don't have them, use the technology. Technology is bridging the gap between what you don't know, what you don't have resources to or access to, right? And what you are able to actually achieve. And the reason you can bridge that gap is because of the technology that we have here, y'all. Y'all have probably heard somebody talk about it before. I can't be the first person that mentioned ChatGPT to you, but let me tell you, please, okay, how important it is to leverage this tool. We have probably like a 2-year window right now where you're able to use it in a way that's profitable, in a way that can help you make money, in a way that can help you build the things like a marketing plan that are going to help your brand and your company be successful. So again, what I want everybody on this call to do, it shouldn't even take more than, I would say, man, 30 minutes, 45 minutes max. And you can have a whole plan built out for you for 6 months. Tell it, hey, I only got $5. I only got $100 a week to spend. Tell everything about your business and create that plan within the next 7 days. So I know people can't chat or anything like that, but if y'all could raise a hand or give me some kind of indication that that's what you plan on doing, that would be great. And I see the hands getting raised. Yes, let's get these marketing plans rocking, right? And that should be y'all next step. So I know if anybody, I like to leave it open for like the last 20 minutes for questions. I'm loving seeing the participation. I'm loving seeing y'all tuned in. We should be able to get you guys this deck as well, but I'll go ahead and open it up for questions right now if anybody has any. Okay, I see it in the Q&A. Okay, I'm gonna go in order here. What percentage of your business budget should go towards marketing? That is a great question. I will say your name, but it says anonymous attendee. Generally speaking, it should usually be around 30%. That's like the benchmark, but it depends on your business model, right? And it depends on the return that you're getting on that investment. With Ride Fresh, for example, when we were really growing and we were running Facebook ads, we knew that for every $8 we spent, we were making $40, right? So in a situation like that, where basically we're running the ads and it's kind of like a money machine because I put in 8 and I get 40, I'm spending more than 30% of my budget on that, right? Like because I know that that's returning an immediate investment. I mean, providing an immediate return on my investment. So a general rule of thumb is like 30 to 35% of your overall budget, but it's very, very dependent on the type of business that you run and what your business model is. I'd love to see sample prompts. We can send those over. We have a whole library of sample prompts, Terry. So we can get those over after the call. I have like literally a drive full of prompts that we can share with you. I don't have them up right now, but we can send those after the call for sure. Are we allowed to use AI to complete our marketing material in this class? Yeah, I mean, I'm not running this particular class. I'm just running the workshop. So I don't know what their requirements are, but I would think, at least for producing this marketing plan, that was something that you should be able to do. How does using ChatGPT affect confidentiality or product protection? I mean, the answer to that is as much as you would affect confidentiality or product protection, right? So it's not gonna learn anything or know anything that you don't tell it. But for in terms of your business, you should be pretty confident and comfortable telling it most of the things about your business. Now, if you're talking about competitors or information, it cannot give information to other people that you have deemed confidential between you and ChatGPT. Now, it is gonna, the reason they want people to use it is because it gets smarter and smarter by the day, because people are feeding it more information. So it is gonna play into the nature of like the algorithm that it has, but it's not like if you tell it a specific thing about your business that somebody else can go in there and search that up. No. So you should feel pretty confident in that. I was taught ChatGPT shares my, no, it should not share your ideas, especially if you tell it that it's confidential. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't really be giving your ideas to ChatGPT. You should be getting ideas from ChatGPT. So it shouldn't be something where like you're getting feedback on your ideas from them. You should look at it as a resource to get ideas for you. It's the other way around. It's a resource for you and your business, and that's the way to look at it, right? Just want to say this is a fantastic. Well, thank you, anonymous attendee. I wish I knew your name, but thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to record this and use it at a later date for something. But I appreciate that. It's my passion. So as much as I can help y'all out is as much as I will. Does VSEDC work with startup plans? If so, how does one go about registering? You can speak to Jessica about that. I believe they do. I am a partner of the VSEDC. I run an agency called the Long Tail Agency, and we also run our own e-commerce community for entrepreneurs called the Long Tail Launchpad. You guys can look that up if you'd like, but we actually do a lot of training as well. But our partnership with the VSEDC is thriving, and it is helping a lot of business owners. But I can't answer questions specifically about what they offer because I technically don't work for the VSEDC. We just work together on a lot of projects. So I believe Jessica or Roxy, whom both are on this call. They will be your point of contacts for that, and that's who you should reach out to. Is there a free option? Yes, absolutely. There's a free option for ChatGPT. I recommend using the paid option, but yes, there's a free option. What social media channels have you found the most effective? All of them. It just depends on your business and your brand and what you offer. And then also, Sandy, it's like you have to look at social media like there's two sides to it. There's what we call paid and organic. Paid is running ads and paying to get your product seen and hopefully purchased by people. And then organic is I'm just making content and growing my following and I'm active on the platform. As far as paid, to me, there's no, and we teach this in the Long Tail Launchpad, but there's no better tool for people to discover your brand if you're paying than Facebook or Meta, because they know the most about the whole universe, basically, right? So like if you're looking at running ads and you run a relatively small business, I would recommend Facebook ads first, but Google ads also run really well. And then as far as organically, you have your Instagram and TikTok. Those are probably the most two popular social media platforms, but also YouTube, depending on what you do. So if you do hair, for example, you might want to create a YouTube channel and do hair tutorials. It all depends on what your business is, but the top platforms I would say obviously is right now is TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Those are like the top three. And then when you talk about ads, same thing with all three of those. So you have your organic side, which is just you making content, people coming to your page, but then you also have the ads. And when you talk about the ads, I have found Facebook ads to be the most effective for taking a business from zero to 1,000 to a month to 10, 20, 30, 40,000 a month, in my experience. But again, there's a caveat there because it depends on the type of business that you have and what your business model is. My least favorite part of operating my business, unfortunately, and I see the impact of that. So crucial. Okay, Carol, I don't know which part that was, but I hope that it helped. uh, any thoughts on brand deals? Taj, I would need a little more data, like a little more information for what you mean by brand deals. But if you're talking about like, hello? Okay. Um,
I'm sorry, did you call me?
yeah, Roxy, somebody asked if the VSEDC works with startup plans. If so, how do they go about registering?
Absolutely. So you mean like someone that doesn't have a business yet and would like to get started with their business?
I think that's what they meant. Yeah.
Sure, sure, absolutely. So we do have a Watts location and a South LA location where you can actually come in, or you can also apply online at vsedc.org and fill out your application. And then once you fill out your application, you will be prompted to send in some documents. And then within, 5 to 7 days, an advisor will actually give you a call and you can get started on the process.
Cool.
That's typically how it would start, but you can feel free to email me and we can get started right away.
Thank you for that, Roxy. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I had to let them know, like, I can't answer all the VSCDC
Oh,
questions.
no, no, yeah, I'm sorry. I had to take a call, but I'm here, so I'm ready to answer
No
any
worries.
questions.
No
Yes.
worries. So that answers Michelle's question as well. Lotus Lee says, how safe is ChatGPT? I think we already touched on that. It's pretty safe. It's never going to take specific information about your business and give it to other people. Your information helps the platform learn, but it doesn't just make it readily available for anybody who wants to access it. It doesn't work like that. Excuse me. If ROI is low, should a business spend more or less than 30 to 35%? If your ROI is low, I would never recommend increasing the spend. You got to figure out what's working first before you increase the budget. Like, more money is not going to save your problem if your customers aren't happy, or if you don't ship items out on time, or if there's other problems with the business or with the marketing. So no, I would never increase the budget or the percentage of the budget that you allocate to marketing until you figure out which marketing channels work the best for your particular brand or business and how to be successful on those channels. When placing an ad on Google, how soon are we expected to see a return on our investment? I hear 7 days on Google, 15 days on Facebook. Rosie, so the answer to that is it just depends on your business and on your brand. So the way I teach it and the way we teach it at the Long Tail Launchpad is, first, before you ever run an ad, you have to build a business and a customer experience that people like and that makes people want to buy. So the first thing is having a product or service, again, that appeals to the market, having a website that you're driving traffic to, making sure that website operates correctly, making sure that website is visually set up correctly, right? And then making sure that your products are easy to find and all of that good stuff, right? And then also that you have the setup of your website, or what we call the customer journey, correctly. So when I go to the website, do I get 10% off if I get my email? Okay, I get my email. What automated emails and text messages am I receiving? How easy is it to find the product? Do I get discounts? All of that is the customer journey. And all of that is, at its core, is fueled by your product or your service and the value that you provide. And if you don't do that, it's never going to be worth it, and you're not going to ever see a return on your ads. You can never just assume that you're going to see a return on your ads. You have to build a great business. You have to have what we call a rock solid offer. So what is the offer, right? And once you land on a good offer and you have a good customer journey, then your ads, this is what we tell people: good businesses fuel good ads. It's not the other way around. A lot of times people run ads and they're like, I'm not seeing my money. Well, what does your website look like? Is it kind of trash? Okay, well, then if it's trash, then that's the thing you need to fix, not the ads, right? And so it's the analogy we always make is, it's like a house. It's like having a house party. If I'm throwing a Super Bowl party or a housewarming and I have people coming into my house, your house is your business. So if I want people to stay, if you want people to stay in your store, buy, engage, then my house, I need to have a nice couch. I need to have art. It needs to smell good. My bathroom needs to have candles and towels and paper towel. And I need to have a fridge full of food and drinks and liquor and beer and just everything to make people want to stay at the party, right? That's the same way you need to look at your business. And so if I don't have a couch and I'm throwing a Super Bowl party, who is going to want to stay in my crib? Nobody. Right. And so if they leave my crib, I can't say, man, what y'all don't want to stay in my house? No, they don't want to stay at your house because your house, it's not built for what you're trying to bring people into. Right. So don't even look at it like, oh, it should it take this long to start seeing money? No, it should be 7 days is a good time for Google to warm up. Google ads take a little longer to warm up than Facebook, but yes, that's a general benchmark that you should look at. But what you really should look at is you should be profitable probably within, 2 to 4 days. But it depends all on your business model. If I'm selling timeshares, I might not sell a timeshare for a month or two, but the first one I sell, I might make $30,000. So it all depends on how much you're spending, what product you have, and how much you're willing to pay. We're going to get into this a little later. How much you're willing to pay to acquire a customer. But again, none of that is going to matter if you haven't built a house that is going to make the customer say, I want to buy this thing, right? Like that's what you got to work on. And the ads are just fuel to the fire. How well does ChatGPT, how do we tell ChatGPT our information is private? You just tell them it's private. But it's still going to take it, I think, in terms of like, remember y'all, it's the algorithm that is factoring it. It's not taking your specific information and giving it to anybody. Do you recommend creating your own products, or can you do affiliate marketing for products that resonate with your mission statement? You can do that. You can do either one. It depends on what makes sense to you. If you have a platform like a social media page or a following, you could just push other people's products and it takes the risk off of you. And you can absolutely invest in ads for doing that. Definitely, for sure. I mean, we see it happen all the time. It's about what makes sense for you and what you have the resources and ability to do. I would caution against getting into affiliate marketing if you don't already have a following, though. Antoinette says, I like the way you explain things in layman's terms. Thank you, Antoinette. I appreciate that. You can follow me on Instagram and follow the Longtail Launchpad. We give out a bunch of free game all the time. Thank you so much. So informative. Thank you. Fantastic. Wow, y'all making me, I mean, I can't blush. I'm black, but y'all making me feel good about myself. We got 2 more workshops to go. So this is all good. What kinds of benefits can you get with the paid version of ChatGPT? Okay, Lisa. So there's a lot. So generally it just works better. It works faster. And then it also has like plugins. So like there's something called DALL-E on there. You can actually use it to, like create like designs, actually create designs and graphics. And also you can upload different documents and like, for example, if I uploaded this deck, it can read through this document and summarize it for me. So the paid version allows you to like actually send documents, like upload documents, and allows it to read it and process it and do whatever you need it to do after that. So those are 2 of the biggest things, the plugins and and then also it searches different websites a lot faster and a lot better with the paid version. What is the best platform to market a service in a specific area? Everything. I mean, it depends on what you offer, but usually Google is, if you have a physical brick and mortar store, Google is good always for local, for targeted local, but you can also target local on Facebook and Instagram as well. But depending on the business that you run, Google is really good for like local things, especially for if you're going to do search ads. So like if you're an insurance broker in Inglewood, then somebody may be, looking for that on Google search. So again, it depends on your business, but if you have anything that people are searching for like a lot, like mechanics, lawyers, those types of businesses, then you're going to probably lean a little more into Google. But you can get localized on Google and on Facebook as well. How can blogging or writing LinkedIn articles to market a service business be tracked for effectiveness? A survey to ask. So with your blogging, there's a couple different ways. So Sandy, like that's what's called SEO. I don't know if you're familiar or not, but search engine optimization. So your blogs are going to have an impact of you being higher in the search results. Like I just mentioned to Michelle's question, right? So like if I am a family attorney and I deal with a lot of divorce clients, and I have blogs and material on my website that deal with the things that search terms that those people are searching, it's going to put me higher when people Google, it's going to put me higher in the search results. So in terms of blogging, the effect of blogging correctly should put you higher as far as ranking when you're looking at SEO. And that there's other stuff you could do to your website too. SEO is a whole, it's entire own discipline. Like that's a whole job for people. But generally speaking, like when you're talking about blogging, the effectiveness of it should mean that you are ranking higher in the search results than you than you did without the blog. So it should be providing some kind of lift, and you should be some kind of high, you know, it should be popping up higher in the search results. And then LinkedIn, you should just be seeing more engagement on your posts. And that's how you track the effectiveness of it. The idea is for all of those things, though, to end up leading to more business for you, more conversions, more revenue for you, because you're getting more traffic to your website. All right, so now we're going to talk about audience. The objective here is to just help you reach your target audience and talk about how to do that, right? So market segmentation, that's just different audiences and the reason for targeting different audiences, right? Targeted versus mass marketing, that's just like, hey, do I go after everybody or do I go after specific people? You want to go after specific people. Why? Because that's going to help you with the money that you're spending and the messages that you're talking to people about. I play golf. If I get an ad that speaks specifically to where I am in my golf game, it's going to make more sense to me, right? It's going to resonate with me and I'm going to be a happier customer. So when the messages are tailored to a specific customer, they're going to resonate with that customer more. That person is going to be more satisfied, more loyal, and more happy. So how do you build a customer profile? These are the main elements of building a customer profile. Demographics, right? This is just information on the person: age, gender, income level, education, location, all of those things. This is the foundation of the profile, right? The second is psychographics. That's who they are mentally, their lifestyle, their values, their interests, opinions, right? Like that's the difference between demographics and psychographics. Like demographics is just like information about the person, like on a surface level, but psychographics is more so how they think. That helps you though when it comes into marketing and appealing to those people. And then behavior. How do these people actually go about their day-to-day life? Like their buying habits, their brand loyalty, what products do they use? Who is your customer? These are the three main pillars about who your customer is, right? And the way that you want to think about defining a customer profile, right? So when you talk about segments of customers, these are different groups. And this is how you want to group your different three segments. First is primary customers, right? Your core group, that's like my main customer, the person I know that supports me the most, the person I talk to the most, the person that is the biggest priority for me, right? Secondary customer, still valuable, but they're still around and they're consistent, but they're not as many of them as the primary customer, right? So they're still valuable. You still have to have messaging strategies to reach them, but they're not necessarily your priority target customer. And then the third group is your occasional customers. They're infrequent buyers. They engage with the brand, but they might only come through for like a sale, right? Or like for me, like I'm not a super outdoorsy dude like that. I mean, now that I play golf, I kind of am, but like when I knew I was going to Africa, I was going on a safari. I went to REI, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know how many of y'all know that store, but like that was probably my first and only time going to REI. Not going to really go there a bunch of times. So I would be what you consider to be an occasional customer for that brand, right? So those are the three groups and the three ways that you want to look at that. Defining your customer. These are the three important questions, the three most important questions that you need to ask when defining your customer. Who are they, right? Where are they? and what do they value? If you can answer these questions, you're going to know exactly how to talk to this person. So again, if I have a nail salon in South Central Los Angeles, I may know exactly who my client is. The age range, right? What we just talked about, demographics. I know exactly where they are. They're within, 5 miles, a 5-mile radius. And what they value is the feeling that they get when they leave my nail salon, right? Okay, cool. Now in my marketing, I know exactly how to talk to these people. I know exactly what to say. I'm not talking to a 46-year-old white male from Culver City in my marketing. I'm talking to exactly this person because I know that this person is my profile, my customer profile, and my main segment that I'm talking to, and that's my target market. So the purpose of all of that is to know how to talk to them, right? And so that's what we're talking about, actually reaching the audience. So once I know who to talk to and what they value, I know how to personalize my messages to them. Sorry about that. Okay, so once you know who to talk to, you know how to talk to them, right? What they value. Now I know how to market to them to speak to that. So sticking with the nail salon, if that's the end benefit of what they like, I know to bring that up. Hey, girl, want to start your weekend fresh and glowed up and blah, blah, blah. Now I'm talking to her, right? And then I also know what channels to reach because I know, all right, if my market is, Gen Z kids, I know that I need to probably be on TikTok. So again, once you know who to talk to, you know how to talk to them, and you also know what channels and what platforms to reach them on. And then lastly, you also know what offers might resonate with certain people. So again, if I have a business that's for the price conscious person, I know I always need to be doing sales. I have another client that we work with right now. She runs a fashion brand. Her stuff is pretty expensive, right? But she never wants to do a sale because she doesn't want to cheapen her brand. Now, we have our own issues with that, but that's not the same as maybe a Fashion Nova or a brand that's a little less expensive. But again, you have to know your customer so you can know how to design offers and products and marketing for that particular customer. Remember what I said earlier, specific person, specific problem, right? And you as a company are the specific solution to that. So this is what having a targeted profile means and how you can actually, go about like reaching that audience in a way that's going to let you scale your business. So activity with this one was a little shorter, but all I would like you guys to do on the back end of this one is define your primary customer profile and your secondary customer profile. Again, you can use ChatGPT to help you do this. Hey, my business is this. Hey, I would like your help. And one note too is to use ChatGPT to like when you're doing the prompts, right? You want to tell it what it is. So I always start off my prompts by saying, hey, ChatGPT, you are a world-class marketing expert or marketing plan creator or whatever I needed to do right there. I'll say you are one of the best blah, 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 blahs in the world. I need you to take the information about my business and help me define a customer profile so that I can effectively market and reach that audience. So these are just the basics of defining an audience, the reasons why you need to define an audience and how to go about doing it. Again, I would think about this on your own accord, but also leverage ChatGPT to help you define a customer profile. And again, once you have that, now in your ads, in your social media content, and everything you're doing from a marketing standpoint, it's better and it's going to resonate more because why? I know exactly who I'm talking to, right? And when you know exactly who you're talking to, you have a better message that's going to resonate with those people more, and a higher percentage of those people are going to engage and are going to buy from you. And that's as simple as that. So I'll end this one now and open it up for anybody that has questions about audience and segmentation. Sometimes my customer is not always the person who ends up paying for my services. Well, that ain't your customer, Sandy. I'll give you an analogy. When we first started Ride Fresh, I thought our customer was going to be car guys and people who were car enthusiasts because we had an automotive product. But in the end, it was people who just wanted to stand out and wanted an air freshener as a way to do that. And it really wasn't the supercar guy that I had in my mind. So a lot of times we have a customer in our mind, and that's not always the customer that actually spends the money with us. The person that spends the money with you, that is the customer, not the person that you want to spend the money with you. Lucy says, any suggestions on how to get more data about prime customers? I would say, if you don't already have it from if you don't have enough sales data, then answering the questions that we talked about in the beginning, Lucy, right? Which is defining that on your own. So when you're first starting a business, you have to think of, and when you're first creating a marketing plan, you have to think of what problem you're solving and for who, right? So who does my business help? If I don't have that information already, and then you could also do some research, ChatGPT as well. Once you know what your business product or service is, you can say, hey, what is the general target market for this type of product? Who produces this type? Who consumes this type of product or service the most? So use ChatGPT, use Google, but also think about it from your own perspective of, I want to solve this problem for this particular person. We talked about segmenting customers. We talked about your marketing plan in terms of how to get those customers. Now, we're going to talk about keeping those customers, right? So the objective here, I want to give y'all strategies to promote your business, but also more importantly, to retain your customers. And what that does is ensure long-term growth, right? Getting them is one thing. It's almost like a relationship or a marriage, right? Getting them is cool. Keeping them, that's where we sometimes struggle. I'm only speaking for myself. That's where I struggle. But anyway, so what you're going to learn is acquiring customers, nurturing customers, and converting customers. It's the 3 steps, right? And the way that you look at this is a funnel. So what we talked about a little bit earlier is the customer journey. That is what happens from when a customer first gets exposed to your business to when they buy. And then what happens after that to make them continue to buy. So this is what we call the funnel, right? And the different stages of a marketing funnel. So at the top, when they first become aware of you, that is the awareness stage. Oh, that's dope. I like that ad. Hey, that shirt looks cool. Oh, that's nice. That's awareness. Then they move into intention, which is oh, I'm actually thinking about buying something. Then consideration is I'm thinking about buying something from you specifically, right? Now I'm very much close to buying, and at the end is conversion, or what we call the buy. And that's kind of how the customer journey goes. Now, after the buy, you kind of loop back into what we call nurturing, right? So you go from awareness, and between intention, consideration, and buy, we do what's called nurturing a lead. So this person is a lead, which means they may buy something from me. I want them to buy something from me. My goal is to nurture them, to work on them, right? To show them value to the point where they become a paying customer. So you want to take it from a lead, and you want to do what's called nurture your lead into that lead buying something from you and being a customer. And this is the process for how to do that, right? So there's a couple different ways. You have paid marketing, which is going to be your ads, Google ads, Meta, Facebook ads, traditional advertising, radio, all that good stuff, right? Sponsorships, affiliate marketing. And then you have organic marketing. So that is going to be your social media, what we call content marketing. So organic just means the type of marketing that you're doing that doesn't require you to pay for anything, right? So reviews are huge. We talk about this all the time. Yelp, Google, please make sure y'all got your reviews on point. It could be media coverage, PR, SEO that we talked about. So again, these are the 2 forms, paid and then non-paid, which is just organic. The last is partnerships, alliances with other companies, working with influencers or creators. Like if you're a restaurant, you want to get a food reviewer to come in. All right. Well, I might not pay, but I might give them a free plate or a free meal, right? So partnership marketing is kind of like that 3rd pillar. But these are all the ways that you're going to go about actually acquiring your customer, right? How do I actually go out and acquire or go and grab those customers? Paid marketing, organic marketing, and then partnership marketing. Now, Once I have them, or I have them in my house, so to speak, going back to my earlier analogy, how do you nurture them? So some of y'all have probably done this. You go to a website, they have a pop-up that says get 25% off or whatever. You give your email, but maybe you added something to your cart, but you didn't buy anything, right? Now it's on me, the brand. You showed interest. You came to my website. You gave me your email. You added something to your cart. Now I need to nurture you into the buy. I need to get you right on past that finish line. I need you to spend some dollars with me, right? How do you do that? The big thing is emails and text messages, right? So this is, again, y'all have probably gone through this on the consumer side, you as a buyer, right? As a customer. All right, boom. As soon as they get to your site, you want to capture their email, you want to capture their phone number, you want to pepper them with messages. We call them automations, so that you're not writing each one. It's an automation that's set up that says anybody that comes through my site gets these messages. In those messages, you want to add value, and that value can be oftentimes a promotion or a discount. So you don't just want to say, hey, are you going to buy? Like sometimes, but you want to make sure you're adding value, but not just through the automations, but just in general. So like it could be a lead, could be somebody who followed you on social media, right? What is your content doing? Your content, whether it's social media, your email newsletters, everything you're doing should add value, right? So like, for example, I made the hair analogy. If you have a brand that helps people grow their edges back, which we have a real brand that was a VSEDC cohort graduate who was doing, I don't know, less than $1,000 a month. And now he has a 6-figure business doing these strategies, right? You don't just want content that's always selling. You want to add value. So if you have a hair product, you might want to show people strategies for, you know, getting their edges back, or how to take care of your hair, or different content that adds value. You don't want to always just be selling, right? You want to build a relationship, and that's how you nurture the customer. You don't just always sell, you add value. And a lot of times on your social media content and your emails, that's what you're going to do. You are going to add value. Please, if you don't remember nothing about this one, remember that. And then the third thing is promotions and offers. Part of adding value is, oh, okay, 25% off. I like that. Let me go ahead and buy. So again, the automations and the emails are gonna add value, but also you want to include in those and on your social media promotions and offers that turn those leads into customers, because you have a higher percentage of doing business with people who've already come to your site, who are already aware, who already added to cart. They're indicating a higher likelihood of buying from you than a Joe Schmo off the street. So the keys to retention: quality product and service. And I'm gonna get real for a second, especially in the Black community. What we see is not always issues with this, but sometimes issues with this, right? And you want to, the best thing you can do for your marketing is to provide a quality product or service. Please ship out on time. Please respond to customers if they're not getting what they want. Please respond to bad reviews and tell them, hey, come back in for another experience. We love to have you. The meal is on us. All of that is marketing. Like, it's not just getting the customer, it's retaining the customer. And the biggest key to retention is a quality product and service, because if it's good, they're going to come back. Look at it from the customer standpoint. If you go to a restaurant, you have an amazing experience. The food is bomb. The service is great. It was good parking, free parking, and you got treated really nicely in there. They don't have to ask you to come back. You're going to want to come back, right? So you need to be thinking of that as a business owner. How do I provide the absolute best product or service that's going to just make this person not only want to come back, but guess what? They're going to make other people come in with them. So now you're turning this customer into free marketing for you. And that's going to result in repeat purchases, right? And the customer feeling appreciated. And if you have all three of these elements, you are going to have to spend way less money, and you are going to have customers that are way more excited and way more loyal to your brand. And that's what we talk about here. So the most important metrics that you have to think about when you talk about customer retention and the value of a customer, right? How much am I paying to acquire that customer? and this is the basics of any business, especially when you talk about online advertising. How much am I paying? So if I spend $100 on ads and I get 10 customers, that means I'm paying $10 per customer. That's what we call customer acquisition cost, or CAC. Sometimes you might hear this referred to as CPA, cost per acquisition. This is very important because this determines how much you're willing to pay for a customer. Secondly, you don't know how much you're willing to pay if what? You don't know how much it's worth. So that's what the lifetime value of a customer is. So when I made the analogy earlier about Ride Fresh, we paid $8 in customer acquisition costs with our Facebook ads, but we also knew that they were worth $60 or $40 at one time, right? That was the customer lifetime value. All that is how much can I expect to make from this customer over their entire relationship with me? And we had a subscription company. So we knew, hey, look, on average, $60 was the lifetime value. So I know if I'm paying $8 to make the 60, even though it's over a couple months, it's worth it for me, right? In the short term, though, the last number you need to think about is average order value. So the lifetime value is the revenue over the time of the lifespan of the customer, but the average order value is that first order. How much are you making on average from that very first order? These are the holy grail. How much am I paying for the customer? How much are they spending on that first order? And how much are they worth in the long term? That's all you need to be able to scale your business. So if I'm paying less than the value of the customer, then I'm running a profitable operation. Now you have to think about your costs of goods sold, your profit margins, and all of that. But that factors in. But this is the basis of acquiring and retaining customers, but doing it in a way that is profitable for your business, right? So again, these are things that all of you should know or want to know is how much can I afford to pay in my marketing for a customer? And in order to know that, I need to know how much that customer is worth in the short term and in the long term, right? So best practices, again, build a profitable customer journey. This is what I kept telling y'all earlier with the house and your decorations, right? You're going to maximize those last two numbers I talked about, the lifetime value, the average order value, by making sure your store works right, your design is right, people can find the products, and that the products are good and that they get there on time. All of that is going to bump those other numbers up because people are going to continue to buy from you and they're going to spend more money with you. So that's how you build a profitable customer journey. Choose the right channels. So again, whatever works for you, TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, do more of what works, spend more money on what works, and then expand out. And then the last thing is spend wisely. Whatever money you're spending on marketing at this point in your business, you should make sure you're getting a return, right? But again, like I said, understanding these metrics is what's going to allow you to do that. Understanding what you're spending, how much you're getting for that spend, right? That's what's going to allow you to know, am I spending my money wisely or not? Or am I just spending a bunch of money on ads and hoping for customers, right? So the activity for y'all to do on this last one is to define your average order value, right? Your lifetime value, which I'll send a link to on how to do that. That's a little more complicated, but your average order value and your CPA. Now, when I say your CPA, your cap, so your allowable CPA, right? Like what is the most that you are willing to pay to get a customer or an order? That is going to be the lifeblood of your entire marketing operation, period. Because you should not be spending any money on anything that doesn't bring ROI. And if you know those two numbers, then you know how much your budget, whatever it is, right? How much that spend should hopefully yield in terms of a return.